I'm Nita Loudon from the Vic High class of 1966.
And I'm Nico Smart from what will be the Vic High class of 2019.
We have the honor of telling you about David Day, a Vic High grad who went on to become a logger, editor, poet, newspaper columnist, children's author, historian, environmentalist, mythologist, literary cartographer, and last but certainly not least, a prolific and best-selling author.
As a writer, David Day has been described as a literary detective, a chronicler and recorder of beasts, real, imagined, or imperiled, and a Tolkien taxonomist. Of his more than 46 books, 7 of his bestsellers have been about J.R.R. Tolkien, the father of modern fantasy literature.
David Day was born here in Victoria in October 1947. As part of a military family, his early childhood years saw frequent moves between here and Quebec, before the family settled on Rocky Point military land in Metchosin. Despite having attended 9 different elementary schools, by the end of grade 3, David became interested in writing. One of those who encouraged him to write was his 5th grade teacher at John Stubbs Elementary, Norma Mickelson, who was inducted into the Vic High Black and Gold Honor Roll in 2016. David says his junior high reading and writing at S.J. Willis was interrupted intermittently by fights at Topaz Park. He also excelled at wrestling matches at the YMCA, winning 5 BC wrestling titles by the 9th grade.
At Vic High, David edited both the Camosunette school newspaper and the Camosun yearbook, and also honed his writing skills as a high school sports reporter for the Victoria Times. After graduating as part of the class of 66, David began his working life as a logger and miner up island and in northern BC. It was during this time that he began writing stories and poems. Over the next decade, he alternated between logging camps and classes at UVic and UBC. In 1972, his first poems were published in the Malahat Review.
Also, in 1972, David went to live on the island of Ibiza off the coast of Spain. A year later, he relocated to Greece, where he assembled his first book of poems written in logging camps, The Cowichan, which was published in 1975. In 1976, under the tutelage of one of his early fans, UVic professor Robin Skeleton, David received a BA in creative writing.
In 1978, David moved to England, and in 1979 he published A Tolkien Bestiary, his first of what would become a string of books on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. It quickly earned him an international reputation as a noted Tolkien expert. To date, more than 1 million copies of this book have been sold in 20 languages worldwide. David has since published 8 other books on Tolkien's world, including Tolkien's Ring, which was one of 5 collaborations with illustrator Alan Lee, the Oscar-winning artist and art director for the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Hobbit films.
But David is not a one-dimensional writer, not at all. In 1981, he published the first of 6 environmental books, the Doomsday Book of Animals, a landmark book on the extinction of species which has a foreword by His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. David has penned more than 4 books to date, including 11 children's books, 3 of them with noted Japanese-Canadian illustrator Warabe Asuka. His other books cover such diverse subjects as natural history, poetry, ecology, mythology, and fantasy. David has also written for newspapers, magazines, journals, radio, television, film, and theater. In 2015, David published Alice's Adventures in Wonderland Decoded as part of the 150th anniversary of Lewis Carroll's classic.
It is with great pleasure, especially for myself as a budding spoken word artist, that we induct into the Vic High Black and Gold Honor Roll from the class of 66 world-renowned writer, taxonomist, mythologist, and literary cartographer David Day.